Well, we did a thing. So welcome back to the channel, everybody. It has been months since I think I've been in front of the camera, but wanted to give a kind of quick update at the beginning of the year with some of the things that have kind of happened in life. So obviously in the last year, I really got to enjoy my 2019 Ford Mustang convertible, and it is an absolute joy to drive, but it did have a couple drawbacks that were starting to concern me. The first was I had been putting a lot of mileage on that thing really quick. Between the rally and car shows and just overall enjoying the vehicle and daily driving it for work and everything else, I put a little over 20,000 miles on the vehicle in under a year. And that was definitely a concern in terms of its value as well as maintenance. Secondary to that, I also was seeing that, if I were going downtown, it was just me, it wasn't a big deal. But when I would use it for work or I would use it like to pick up friends and go downtown, the Mustang is great, but it wasn't perfect. For example, being a convertible, it's a ton of fun for me to drive. But if I put two people in the back of a small sports car, they're not really getting that much of a fun experience. They're getting hit with a ton of wind, they can't hear music, they can't even hear the people talking in the front seat, right? And the last thing is, being a Mustang, right, we are known as the crowd control vehicle. Like, the videos are out there. And I didn't really want a convertible in the wintertime between, ice and snow getting on the top, salt wash especially. So with all that, I purchased a 2017 Porsche Macan S. So to get into this, right? So I had looked around for, I would say, probably 3 months. And I had looked through everything. I was looking at Kia Tellurides, I was looking at Porsche Panameras, and somebody in my friend group mentioned looking at a Macan. And right away, seeing that it was a little bit smaller, it wasn't like your full-size SUV, I would definitely say, I don't want to say compact, but it's definitely smaller on the dimensions. That kind of interested me. It seemed to borrow the exact same interior as the Panamera with just some upgrades. And on top, I actually liked the way this looked. And I was kind of excited because this was basically a way for me to enter owning a Porsche. And I think at some point in my lifetime I will own a Porsche 911, and this was a way for me to experience the ownership of the brand a little bit, basically like dipping my toes into the brand without going out and buying a 911 and maybe having regret with that, either in terms of its cost. In a way, a really interesting analogy would be, we've seen like on Top Gear, like the Lamborghini Countach, it's like meeting your hero and they're a dick. I didn't want to maybe look at owning a 911, get in the car, and then a month down the line owning it, I hated it. So like I said, we're not gonna go to automotive YouTuber or car reviewer-esque in this channel. I'm not gonna be good at it, but we'll get some of the things out of the way, just kind of paint the picture a little bit. So the first thing is 2017 Macan S. So this is the V6 twin turbo. Later on, when this vehicle was refreshed, it went to a V6 with a single turbo, and it was a hot setup with the turbo in between the V, so it's a hot V. It is all-wheel drive all time, and it has the PDK, obviously the 7-speed dual clutch transmission that Porsche is very famous for. It does have the stock 19-inch wheels. There were no upgrades meant to that. This is I believe it's the Volcano gray metallic paint, and it does have the PDLS Plus system, as well as the pano sunroof, heated, cooled leather seats all the way around. Ton of fun, right? With this vehicle, after purchasing it, there's been a couple big positives that I can say right off the bat. For example, the Porsche 918 is probably one of my favorite cars ever made. Every time I've seen one, it's breathtaking. With this, it's been nice to see some of the design elements of the other iterations of the Porsche brand that made its way into this vehicle. So for example, the taillights look almost identical to a Porsche 918's taillights. The steering wheel is the same setup that's in the 918 as well as the 911s of those years. One of the other things that's really great is the Porsche it's an engineering company. Porsche does a great job with, designing these vehicles and creating really, really good designs. And I would tell you the ergonomics of this vehicle are fantastic. It is dead quiet on the highway when driving. You can barely hear wind noise hitting the car, especially even at high speeds. And on top of that, I'll tell you, it's a blast to drive. You know, everybody will tell you the Macan does not feel like an SUV. It doesn't feel big at all. It feels actually like a much smaller car. And I'll tell you, every on-ramp is fun. Every corner is fun. Is it going to be a 911 or a true sports car? No. But I'll tell you, it's a lot closer than any other SUV in the segment. The other thing that's really, I think, impressive with the Macan, so we've talked about the engine a little bit. The engine is good. Do I think it's spectacular? No, I think it's decent for what you get. There's a good amount of power. What really shines in this vehicle is the PDK 7-speed dual clutch transmission. I think if Porsche did not put this transmission in the vehicle, it would not be as good. The crisp shifts, especially when you're in sport mode or you're really hitting on the throttle, or if you decide to take away control from the computers and you're shifting manually, it is absolutely purely fun to drive the vehicle. So with the pluses, there are a couple cons that I'll tell you about with the vehicle. The first is it seems to be an issue with every German vehicle. It's remote start. And for some reason it wasn't offered with this vehicle. And there are aftermarket ways that you can like get into the dash and put some wires in and it'll work with your existing key fob, but being third party and you're also soldering wires, that's a little sketch to me, so I'm not going to do that. But I don't get how a vehicle that was produced in 2017 that is as feature rich as the one I purchased doesn't have remote start. It surprises me that it has Bluetooth, it has all the connectivity, but there's not really a good spot to put your phone. The Porsche has great storage in a lot of different areas. The doors have a very deep pocket in each of them. The glove compartment's fantastic. The center console is great in terms of the little stowaway area. But there's not a good spot to put your phone other than a cup holder. But then if you're using a cup holder and you have a drink, well, it's taking that up. Or if you have the armrest shifted forward, then you obviously can't access your phone. And the last thing with Porsche, and this is something that I'm going to put a little asterisk next to, Android Auto is out on the market. A lot of cars have it, even budget cars have it. Android Auto was not available on this vehicle. Now there is a software update that will add Apple CarPlay, and I think the update will also add Android Auto, but it was not a factory option at the time the vehicle was built. And that really surprises me given that it's a luxury boutique vehicle. Now, I will tell you personally, and I've done this, and you can find this on the internet anywhere, you can jailbreak your Porsche and add those features in. But it surprises me that I have to do that to my vehicle in order to get those features. To me, most vehicles that were produced in 2017 had that feature default. I don't know why Porsche was so adverse to adding this feature to their car. So going forward, the Mustang is obviously going to be in the garage for the winter time here. I think over the next couple weeks, I'm hoping that the weather kind of turns around. Looking at how last year was, for example, I actually pulled the Mustang out of the garage very early in February. And I'm really hoping that that's the case again this year. I can't wait to bring that to Cars and Coffee and start doing some drives with that. I would also tell you that's kind of the reason for this video, is to kind of launch what we're going to do this year. So in the next couple months, there'll probably be some vacations coming up and some little trips here and there. Obviously, we have Concours coming up, so Cincinnati Concours d'Elegance. I'm obviously going to attend that. They're also doing a Mustang exhibit this year as part of their show. I'm very excited for that. And then the Dynasty Rally is going to return again in July, and I'm sure some of the marketing and some of the details of that are going to start launching over the next couple months. So like I said, this video is more meant to kind of launch, hey, here's where we've been the past couple months, here's where some of the content's going to be over the next coming months, and just give you a life update with some of the exciting things that we're doing here. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys found some good information from this, and we will hopefully see you in the next one.